Hello everyone, you're watching a Guardian gameplay, and for this video I want to talk about my thoughts and feelings towards the Gears titles that we saw at E3, and it's definitely an exciting time to be a Gears fan. We got 3 new titles on the way, and obviously the meat of it being Gears 5. If you're like me, when you were watching E3, you noticed the time was running out and we hadn't seen Gears yet, and then finally Gears Pop comes on and you're thinking, that's not exactly what I was hoping for, and then you see Gears Tactics, which is pretty cool, and then finally you see Gears 5 and you're freaking out because it looks great and the gameplay trailer was very well done. So we have a lot coming on the way. Rather than break down all the little details that you might not have picked up on and that I probably didn't pick up on either in the trailer, I just wanted to be a bit more broad and general with kind of my thoughts and feelings towards what we saw. So just getting into it with Gears 5, I am very happy to see that Kate is taking the lead as the female character for Gears 5. I was never too attached to JD. I don't think that there's anything spectacularly interesting about him. Yes, he's Marcus Phoenix's son, which made him a natural person for us to play as in Gears 4, but the way the campaign closed out in Gears 4 also just leads to such a natural segue of exploring Kate as a character and her connection to the Swarm. And what I like about Gears 5 that seems to be the direction we're going in is that it's going to be very focused on Kate as a person and her relationship with the Swarm, which is going to be vastly different than the classic Gears 3 sort of story that we were dealing with, or Mass Effect if you ever played that, where what's at stake is humanity as a whole and that's who you're trying to save. I find those types of storylines to be a bit cliche, and it's the absolute biggest you can go, and since Gears has already gone there, it makes sense to have this change of direction where we're exploring a character more in depth, and it's hopefully going to be a lot more personal and interesting in that respect. Aesthetically, the trailer looked amazing. I think that's to be expected. Games are always stepping up their game these days when it comes to graphics and just gameplay and everything. So really happy with what we saw. In terms of timeline, I think it's great that we're going to be getting Gears 5 3 years pretty much after we had received Gears 4 in 2016, and that to me is the perfect sweet spot of time where we're not getting it too early so that Gears 4 doesn't get to kind of live out a decent life cycle, but we're not getting it too late that we're going to lose momentum here. So I really do think 2019 for Gears 5 was the sweet spot to hit, and happy to see that the Coalition delivered. And meanwhile, as a side note, we're still waiting on Halo here. But back to the Gears news. I'm also happy to see Gears Pop and Gears Tactics entering the scene because they're designed, in my opinion, or from the sounds of it, to crack the different sort of platforms that people like to game on, that being mobile, PC, and obviously we're going to have Gears 5 on Xbox, and I'm pretty sure PC. I think they said Microsoft said all their games are going to be cross-play, or at least their major games, so correct me if I'm wrong on that. So initially when I saw Gears Pop and Gears Tactics, I was kind of like, whatever, because I really wanted to see Gears 5. But knowing that Gears 5 was shown and that's still the bread and butter of Gears, I was really more happy, to be honest, once I looked back on it and saw that Gears Pop and Gears Tactics were going to be an option, just because it just opens up new avenues for people to explore Gears, and I think that will be good for the growth of the game and the community. I think anybody who's passing too much judgment on any of these games, but especially Gears Pop and Gears Tactics, is kind of getting way too ahead of themselves, because we have really little to no information other than kind of how the games look and what their overall purpose is. But I'd definitely be curious to try out both titles. I think the kind of Gears Pop characters look cool, and it's mobile. I don't think it's meant to, occupy the majority of your gaming time. But it would be a fun little mobile game, I'm sure, to play when you're trying to kill time on your way to work or whatnot. I really do hope we see Gears Tactics get pulled over to the Xbox. I'm not huge on playing on PC. I don't know why I haven't converted to the so-called PC Master Race, but I know as it stands that it's supposed to just be a PC title. So that was a touch disappointing, but hopefully that's open to being changed, and if not, maybe it's just time for me to actually just try the PC. So really what we didn't see at E3 was anything as it relates to Gears 5 multiplayer, which is obviously a huge component of Gears when it just comes to what people sink their time into, as I think any game like this, the multiplayer is really where the majority of the time ends up getting put into. And I'm actually kind of happy about that. I think it's a little too early to be seeing gameplay for Gears 5 or kind of the direction they're going to be taking it in. I'm also not exactly too sure what sort of drastic changes, if any, would be made to the Gears 5 multiplayer, but I'm definitely going to start releasing a few more videos talking about aspects of the game that I would like to see changed. And you know I'm going to be talking about the weapon tunings and whatnot, but I think it was good that they didn't give us any information in that regards, because naturally that's the type of stuff where people take sides and we're not all going to be super excited or perhaps in agreement with the direction the coalition takes it, even if it is the best direction it could go in. But with what we have with the campaign, I really think that if you're not happy with what you saw, then you're maybe being a bit unfair to what the coalition looks like they're delivering, which in my opinion was a great product. So just very well done for their E3 showing. Now, with that said, yep, we don't have any multiplayer news. I'm pretty sure they said we'll get a beta before the Gears titles release permanently, and if that's true, I would expect maybe a beta around January of 2019 if the game's going to release late 2019. So that will be great to give a spin. Now, the last thing that I will talk about and mention is just kind of the incentives we have to play Gears 4 now. I mean, I think a lot of people probably watched E3, got hyped, put their Gears 4 back in if they didn't have it already, and started playing it again. I've definitely been enjoying Gears lately. I've put in a bit more time just playing all the different game types, getting really into escalation now, actually, and I'm really happy with some of the support that the coalition has given or incentives they've provided for players to continue playing. I think, for instance, the achievements that they added for the mastery of weapons was a great idea, because now you know a lot of players are going to be grinding to get those achievements, which is going to require them to play online. So that's great to see, because I really do think with the Gears 5 title on the way and the other titles, and probably a Gear 6, something really terrible would have to happen if we didn't get a Gear 6. It's just important to keep the momentum going, and it's great to see people excited for the future of the franchise and hopefully still excited with what they have with Gears 4, because this is definitely an aged game now, coming up on 2 years, I think, but it's still incredibly fun. The esports scene seems to be growing, and there's just a lot that can be done with this franchise. So that's really all I have to say about my thoughts and feelings towards what we saw at E3. Really couldn't be happier. I think it looks great, and it's there's not much better that it can get than this, but I would love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are, whether it be about specifics in the trailer. Seems there's something wrong with JD's arm, and let's hope Marcus Phoenix also does not get killed off in Gears 5. He does not deserve to die, but you let me know what you think about what we saw and how you are, if you are still playing Gears 4, that is. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.